Good day. Welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. President Muhammad Buhari will address the United Nations General Assembly on the plight of the over 9 million people in the Lake Chad Basin. President Buhari, who is in New York for the 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly, is one of the 5 speakers scheduled to address the plenary session on Monday. He is also expected to sign the Paris Agreement on climate change while attending a series of high-profile meetings, including one with the British Permanent Representative to the United Nations. The President would also deliver Niger's statement at the opening ceremony of the general debate on the Assembly on Sustainable Development Goals. The UN General Session is President Buhari's second appearance since he assumed office as Niger's president on May 29, 2015. The Nigerian Airforce has continued its sustained airstrikes on Boko Haram in the northeast part of the country. The Air Force says it hit suspected locations of the terrorists on the outskirts of Tumbin Guinea and Tumbin Kayewa in northeastern Borno state. The airstrikes were as a result of ground-based intelligence and successive intelligence surveillance reports, according to the Air Force. It says that it is believed the terrorists were holding a high-level meeting when the Nigerian Air Force jets hit their locations. The attack is coming nearly 1 month after the Nigerian Air Force reconfigured an Alpha jet for combat role. The Nigerian military has rescued 43 abducted persons and recovered 500 cows from fleeing Boko Haram terrorists in Mafa, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. The military operation occurred on Sunday morning after 8 suspected Boko Haram terrorists abducted some cattle rearers and livestock at gunpoint at Dalakari General Area, Mafa local government area in northeast Nigeria. In a statement issued, the army said it was able to attack the insurgents after it received intelligence reports on their location. The victims and the recovered cows have been handed over to the local authorities. Boko Haram has been trying to establish an Islamic state since 2009. About 2.1 million people have been displaced and thousands have been killed during the insurgency. The Nigerian government has given its reasons for the continued detention of Ibrahim el-Zakzaki, the leader of the Shiite Islamic movement of Nigeria. Speaking during a press briefing at the UN Secretariat in New York, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, said the Muhammad Buhari-led administration is not willing to disrupt the process of inquiry initiated by the Kaduna State government. A federal high court in Abuja in July this year denied an application for bail by el-Zakzaki. According to the court, el-Zakzaki and his lawyers failed to seek the leave of the court to hear the application during the vacation period. The Kaduna State government recently released the report of a panel it set up to investigate the clash, which led to the massacre of over 300 members of the Shiite group by soldiers. The Shiite massacre has been condemned by local and international groups, including Amnesty International. Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele has assured Nigerians that the country has seen the worst of economic times and will be out of recession by the end of 2016. Speaking to media leaders in Lagos over the weekend, Emefiele said that Nigeria is on its path to recovery. He also voted his support for President Muhammad Buhari's emergency economic bill. Emefiele said Nigeria has to spend its way out of the recession. He called on the National Assembly to pass the emergency bill put together by the president's team. Nigeria was last in a recession for less than a year in 1991 and experienced a prolonged one that started in 1982 and lasted until 1984. The Nigerian police have freed 14 kidnapped oil workers in the restive southern Niger Delta region. A statement released by the police confirmed this development over the weekend. The workers are employees of Nigerian oil company Nesto Oil. They were abducted earlier this month from the city of Port Harcourt in Rivers State. Police say the oil workers were released in batches after a shootout with the kidnappers. None of the kidnappers were, however, killed or arrested, according to the police authorities. Without giving further details, the police also confirmed that no ransom was paid for the release of the workers. Niger's Minister of State for Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, has assured that the Nigerian government would not sack any worker after it concessioned the airports in the various locations in the country. He said that the position of the government in the planned concession was that the airports would be better than those in Singapore and Britain. Sirika gave the assurance at the meeting with the Air Transport Senior Staff Services of Nigeria, ATISAN, at the National Union of Airport Transport Workers, NUATE, in Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. The Nigerian government plans to concession airports in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt and Kano for effective service delivery, good turnover and management. According to the minister, concession will be done transparently and will never be in secret, and everybody would be carried along. Niger's domestic carrier First Nation Airways has resumed flight operations after weeks of suspending its flight operations due to inability to meet the minimum fleet size. The resumption was confirmed by an official of the airline from the Corporate Affairs Department. The suspension raised fears that airlines in Nigeria were departing the country due to its recession. However, First Nation debunked the claim that the airline was on the verge of folding up, saying it willingly grounded the aircraft at enormous cost to await the arrival of the manufacturer's team. No fewer than 40,000 graduates have benefited from the Graduate Internship Scheme (GIS) of the federal government and supervised by the Ministry of Finance. The scheme's facilitator in Ogun State, Abubakar Oruma, made a disclosure in an interview with newsmen. He was reviewing the success of the program so far in the state. The GIS commenced in October 2012 as a social safety net component of subsidy reinvestment and empowerment program SHOP. It is implemented by the Federal Ministry of Finance with a mandate to provide short-term employment for Nigerian graduates. Oruma said that 60 participants graduated from the program in Ogun State on September 3rd after 12 months of internship and were presented with certificate by the Ministry of Finance. Time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no. You don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Which came up with this one now? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back to the program. The Central Bank of Nigeria is holding its Monetary Policy Committee meeting in the nation's capital city of Abuja. The committee is expected to focus on the state of the Nigerian economy and decide on key monetary policy parameters. When the committee held its last meeting in July this year, headline inflation was at 16.5%, but that has since increased to 17.6% in August this year. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele is expected to announce the outcome of the meeting on Tuesday, September 20th. Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, has advised the country's central bank to lower interest rates so that the government can borrow domestically to boost the economy, which is stuck in recession. Adeosun said she is working with the Debt Office, Nigeria's Sovereign Wealth Fund and pension industry to issue an infrastructure bond to raise money for roads and housing projects. She, however, did not elaborate on the plan. She said she called on the central bank to reconsider its July interest rate increase, which it implemented to help support the naira and attract foreign investment. Oil prices rose almost 2% on Monday after Venezuela said OPEC and non-OPEC producers were close to reaching an output deal. Brent crude futures were at $46.54 per barrel, while U.S. crude was up at $43.81 per barrel. The rise in oil prices is a reaction to Venezuela's comments about producers reaching a possible output agreement, while loading disruptions in Libya were also underpinning the market. Clashes in Libya have halted the loading of the first oil cargo from the port of Ras Lanuf in close to 2 years, while also raising fears of a new conflict over Libya's oil resources. At least 8 people, including 2 police officers, were killed on Monday in the Democratic Republic of Congo. An anti-government march turned violent in the capital of Kinshasa. Congolese police had fired shots to disperse the protesters, marching against a perceived move by the president to delay the election in the country. Some demonstrators lynched a police officer and burned his body during the clashes. President Joseph Kabila's term as leader of Democratic Republic of Congo expires in December this year, and he is barred by the constitution from seeking another term in office. The opposition says he is plotting to extend his tenure, and its suspicions were reinforced on Saturday when the Election Commission petitioned the Constitutional Court to postpone the next presidential election. A suspicious device found near a New Jersey railway station exploded as a bomb squad was attempting to disarm it with a robot. It was one of the up to 5 devices found in a backpack inside a rubbish bin near the station in Elizabeth, according to the city's mayor. No one was hurt in the incident. The discovery came after 3 attacks at the weekend, bombs in New York and New Jersey, and stabbings in Minnesota. The explosion in New York's Chelsea area injured at least 29 people. Meanwhile, ISIS has claimed responsibility for a knife rampage, which left 9 people injured at a mall in the U.S. state of Minnesota. Police and witnesses said the man wearing a private security company uniform made a reference to Allah and asked someone if he was a Muslim before striking him. The first batch of Team Niger's contingent to the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games have returned home after a successful outing. The second batch is expected to arrive Nigeria later on Monday evening. The performance of the Paralympic athletes totally eclipsed the performance of their Olympic counterpart, who endured a woeful outing at the Olympics in August this year. The Paralympians broke several world records on their way to winning 8 gold, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals. The total of 12 medals, which is Nigeria's best performance at the Paralympics, ensured that the country finished as the best African nation on the medal table. Now, the country won gold medals in shot put, powerlifting and javelin events, and also shattered several world records. Brazilian football legend Pelé will visit Nigeria on Wednesday, September 21st. The soccer star was initially scheduled to be in Nigeria on August 11th and 12th, but that had to be postponed after his health relapsed. The visit has now been rescheduled for September 21st. Pelé led Brazil to World Cup glory in 1958, 1962 and 1970 and scored more than 1,280 goals in a hugely successful career. Still on sports, Nigeria's senior women will face Ghana, Kenya and Mali in Group B of the 2016 African Women Cup of Nations billed for Cameroon. Group A comprises of host Cameroon, South Africa, Zimbabwe and Egypt. The 2 top teams from the preliminary stages will qualify for the knockout phase of the competition. The opening game will take place between Cameroon and Egypt, while Nigeria will play their first game against Mali. Well, that's all we have on news now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Ukuru.